Breaking news. What fresh allegations have been lodged against the Russian opposition leader? Already serving sentences totaling 11.5 a year on fraud and other charges he says were trumped up to silence him, Navalny is President Vladimir Putin's fiercest and most vocal domestic opponent. On August 4, a decision will likely be made in his trial. Here are the specifics of the accusations against him. Establishment of a network of extremists. Revitalization of Nazism. Making extremist speeches at a rally and on the Internet. 2 separate counts. The establishment of a non-governmental organization, Navalny's Anti-Corruption Fund, whose work has been linked to criminal incitement. People under the age of 18 attended Navalny rallies, which may point to their involvement in illegal activities. Raising money to support violent extremism. In what manner does Navalny beg? Navalny claims the charges, like the ones brought against him in the past, are an attempt to silence him and keep him out of politics. To which I replied, of course we are ready for this. What other options are there? According to Navalny's spokesperson Kira Yarmysh on Thursday, a judge did not sentence Alexei to prison. Putin put him there. The length of Putin's reign will undoubtedly impact his sentence. I'm curious as to the Kremlin's take on the situation. While portraying Navalny as a Western-backed agent of political disruption, the Kremlin has denied persecuting him and instead claimed that his case was a legal one best left to the courts. Dmitry Peskov, Putin's spokesman, told reporters last month, "We are not following this trial." How long does Navalny possibly have to spend in jail? However, Navalny claimed in April that investigators had opened what he called a absurd terrorism case against him, which could result in a sentence of 30 years in addition to the 20 that the state prosecutors have requested. It was unclear what the terrorism case was related to, but Russia's Federal Security Service has claimed that opposition figures from a fund established by Navalny in Ukraine and Russia were responsible for the murder of a prominent Russian war blogger. In Russia, those convicted of terrorism face a maximum sentence of 35 years in prison. According to a report in the Moscow Times, a Russian court has sentenced a supporter of imprisoned Russian opposition activist Alexei Navalny to 9 years in prison for his involvement in an extremist organization. The 46-year-old anti-Kremlin activist Vadim Ostanin and 5 of his Navalny allies were arrested after Navalny's activist network was blacklisted by the Kremlin as extremist. Ostanin was the political network coordinator for Navalny in the Siberian city of Barnaul. Many members of Navalny's network left Russia after Russian law enforcement opened a retroactive criminal case into the group in September 2021. According to the report, the prosecution requested an 11-year prison term for Ostanin. Ostanin claimed that prison authorities mistreated him and that his health suffered as a result. Ostanin is a political prisoner, according to Memorial, a prominent human rights organization. Without any explanation, I was transferred to a small, windowless basement cell in Barnaul from Moscow. The cell was about 6 square meters in size. A week later, the water level in the cell reached just above the ankles. There were rats, ants, and spiders in these cells, Ostanin wrote in a letter that was published by Navalny's group. Ostanin follows another key Navalny ally, Lilia Chanishova, in facing extremism charges. The defense team claimed that despite being pressured, Ostanin refused to admit guilt. Alexei Navalny is serving a nearly 12-year sentence in a penal colony for an alleged case of fraud. His defenders argue that he was falsely accused in an effort to silence him.